I finally picked up an ASUS Zephyrus G16 2024 model with the OLED screen, the new thin CNC aluminum body here. I waited for this laptop to go on sale because in Canada the price is outlandish, realistically. The US is a little bit better, but still pretty expensive. I found this on Best Buy Canada, open box, but Geek Squad certified, so it's immaculate brand new condition, and I got it for 2,000 Canadian. This here is the, I guess, the Halo 4060 model, so it has the RTX 4060 in it. It has a 185H processor, which is the highest you can get in this model, and it has the 32 gigabytes of RAM. Finally, I waited for that 32 gigabytes of RAM because it's soldered in this laptop. You can't upgrade it. These are gorgeous creator laptops, specifically designed for creative workflows. It has a beautiful OLED screen here, high refresh rate, good color space on it, incredibly good speakers. You'll see in this video, incredibly good speakers, very thin and portable. So if you're wanting to move around, do different types of workflow at different locations, you do benefit from that metal chassis here, not too heavy. It's going to be an outstanding laptop. It is very expensive. However, creative laptops do command a premium. This one here is equipped with, the studio drivers. Of course, you can install game drivers if you want, but it's geared towards creators. It's a creator laptop. So it does come, bundled specifically with those studio drivers right off the bat. It's got the Republic of Gamers, that's upside down, but Republic of Gamers G16, they're not anymore. I mean, you can game on them, but you could take out that G6, you could take out that 4060 right there and just game on the integrated graphics, right? Everything these days is a gaming laptop. If it has the Core Ultra from Intel or anything basically 680M, AMD or above, they're gaming as they are, right? You could throw a 3050 in here, still gaming laptop. You can play games. Gaming laptop would be a device that favors performance. So you'd be getting really good cooling. Potentially they would be looking at, it has to stay cool so you're not throttling, but also you're going to be getting higher wattages on those GPUs and CPUs. The GPU here is pretty significantly wattage deprived. It's not going to be like a 40 watt 4060 or anything like that, but it is still pretty significantly nerfed down there because the cooling here would be inadequate realistically. If you're looking for a creative style laptop, this is a very compelling option. You may want to watch this review. If you're looking for a hybrid type device, this may be a really compelling option for you. If you're looking for a pure gaming laptop, maybe you should watch this review so you can see why this product may not specifically be for you. And even if you love ASUS, they have other products that you may want to migrate to that'll give you considerably better performance for less money. So we can see they're very clean package. I've got some fingerprints on it and I don't wipe them off because that will show you what it's like. You can see they're extremely thin, right? Almost worryingly thin. It's not really a gaming laptop anymore. It's more of a creator laptop, but that's okay. Very clean look to it. Very, very nice aesthetic. The little LEDs there. It exhausts from there. Quite nice. Metal intake on the metal bottom as well. Intake. So it's an all metal design. Metal top, metal keyboard deck, metal bottom there. The CNC aluminum, so nice and very premium in the hand. No flex at all. Zero flex on it, so it feels extremely premium despite the fact that it's very thin. Port selection is quite nice on these as well. Full size SD card, USB-A to 10 gigabyte per second, so that's going to be fast. That'll give you about as fast as one of these NVMe things can go, 1,000 megabytes a second when you're actually doing the tests. USB-C, I don't think that's a Thunderbolt, but it will accept power delivery. Left side here you have your proprietary ASUS charger. Full size HDMI, very nice to see. Then you have your Thunderbolt port there, so that's going to be a full function Thunderbolt port. Very nice. Another USB-A, same speed, and microphone, headphone combo jacks. Inside, we'll get into it in a minute, but inside you can see they're relatively thin bezels. The reflectivity on it is not too bad. It is an OLED, and I call it a semi-glossy OLED. It does have a bit of an anti-gloss coating on it, but it's not like crazy aggressive. So you don't have crazy aggressive reflections like on some OLEDs that I've reviewed. You also don't have crazy anti-gloss, which can mute the color somewhat, like a monstrous size trackpad there. Nice kind of dark off gunmetal. It's almost hard to describe the color. It's not a traditional gunmetal. It's almost got a hint of brown to it. I really like the color actually quite a bit. All your camera stuff up there, lots of different sensors. Very clean package here. Right, very nice. Other speakers firing down there. So these have quad speakers, and my assumption is this thing's going to have incredible sound. 1,818 grams, so that's going to be around 4. So to get inside the laptop, we're looking at a star style screwdriver. So there actually are some hidden screws under here. Luckily, I have experience with the G14. Not too bad, at least it's not like the full pad. Some brands do that. You have to take off the whole freaking foot. Nice ASUS. Yeah, extremely easy to get into. You just got to take off those little paddy things, which will go back on easily. Nice metal bottom there, right? some little structure stuff, intakes and that. Little pad, little felty pad. Overall pretty good. Inside looks pretty good. You can see here gigantic battery, 90 watt hours. You could get a little bigger, 99 watt hours, but not much. So I'm going to consider that to be a very good battery size. Speaker down, the big thumpers. The speaker ups are, I don't know, are they on the flip side or they're probably under there? That's probably where they are there and the sound's coming out, I'd guess. Anyways, there's up firing and down firing speakers. Very good. Probably just, there we go, Wi-Fi under here, right? Upgradable Wi-Fi if need be. NVMe 1 here with a little bit of a heat shield, not metal, but just the aluminum covered kind of paper stuff. Second NVMe here, which is important to me. You get dual NVMe on a laptop that's 16-inch. I find that to be very important personally. RAM, you can see here soldered, so you do want to buy in on the amount of RAM you want. I'd highly recommend 32 gigabytes on a laptop of this price that you're going to be keeping for years. The weird fans are same as the G14. I wasn't a big fan. I did find them pretty annoying, but maybe they move more air, but we're a little pitchy on that. We'll see if this is pitchy. We'll see. And then an auxiliary fan here that actually blows over the CPU and GPU. You can see here that heat pipes are extremely thin. This is my one gripe with these laptops is basically the cooling, right? So you can see it has a lot of heat pipes. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess kind of 5 to go down there, but basically you have 3 and 3 realistically going to the chips. However, they're very thin heat pipes. Like extremely thin heat pipe. So the actual, area from the top looks like quite a bit of heat pipe, but the actual volume of the heat pipe is much less than you think. So as a result, because they're trying to keep the laptop extremely thin, they do need this auxiliary fan to basically help and assist. The 185H can be a hot CPU. It's certainly no HX beast that's going to just run like crap in a laptop like this or any laptop. I'm a big fan of the Core Ultra stuff from Intel. I typically recommend AMD-based laptops based on battery life, thermals, and that. However, the Core Ultra is a huge step for Intel. Huge step for Intel. Let's have a look at the keyboard here. You can see it does have RGB. Kill off a little bit of lighting there. All right. It's doing a kind of just cycle through thing. That's off. 1, 2, 3. Looks like there's 3 settings there. Or I would just open up the Aura Creator there. What the hell? Including Armory creators are running properly. Why would they not be running properly? So we have to update this thing. This is ASUS bloaty stuff. Maybe this will do it in the first time. But anyways, in here you can customize your RGB. Aura Creator is a standard ASUS thing. You have all the settings there, but you can also change the colors, right? So you can come in here and change those. Looks like maybe I need to install some type of service. Unfortunately, you have to go through here and do it. Keyboard, no numpad, despite the fact that it is a larger keyboard. It's not really geared towards professionals. It's a creator laptop, realistically. So, I mean, most creators, I would say, probably don't need a numpad. I guess it depends what you do. I'm kind of a rare case because I also do, like, science work. But, I mean, if I was just doing YouTube, I would need a numpad. Chiclet-style keyboard here. You can see relatively small keycaps, right, on the actual device. But the travel's pretty good. You can see that there. They at least cover the height of the key, so not bad. I generally find ASUS keyboards to be pretty enjoyable to type on, so let's just do a quick type here. Yeah, it's a good keyboard. I mean, I wish there was more travel, right? And I wish there's something about the square keys that make me like more prone to errors and like hitting on things. I preferred the G14 and the G16 from before. 2023, 2022, they were just nicer keyboards. Those ones were like really nice keyboards. The VivoBooks have really nice keyboards. The ZenBooks have decent keyboards. These have pretty good keyboards too. So, I mean, it's not going to be the best. I give it like an 8 out of 10 or something like that. It's a good keyboard though. I don't have any problems with it. It's way better than a MacBook keyboard. It's not even in the same realm as a MacBook keyboard. Now the trackpad on this laptop is somewhat comically large. It's like everywhere that is not like keyboard or above is trackpad. It's relatively nice. This is, like a somewhat smooth texture. This is pretty smooth. It's not glass trackpad, but it's pretty smooth. It feels pretty nice, I would say. It's a little bit like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, listen to this. I'm not pushing. It's like wobbly, like it's like floating around on top or something. A little bit mushy, not too bad. That's, I guess, the halfway point. Not doing anything. Yeah, that's about the halfway point. Technically left click there. So that's fine. You can click up to about here and then it doesn't really do anything up there. It's a little like floaty, I guess I'd say, and a little gummy. It's okay. It's all right. It's kind of too big. I wish they would like actually make it slightly smaller and make it better. So in terms of software, you have a couple different options. The first one here is my ASUS, which you can do like more like warranty type stuff. You can do your updates in here. So you go in here and do system updates. I already did it, but you can see here I did some, oh, it doesn't actually tell me, but I did some updates already in here, some drivers and that, which is always good to do. You can come in there and do some updates. It'll tell you some diagnostics about your machine. That's fine. You do get some important device stuff here. Battery care mode, it won't charge your laptop up all the way. So if you're plugged in all the time, that's a good one there. Here's your aura effects. I guess you can do it in here as well. Aura creators to actually create it, but you can just set it, I guess. Purple. So rainbow. Game visuals here. This is, I think, yeah, there it is. So this should be where the OLED stuff is. Yeah, so they moved it from my ASUS this year up to Armory Crate. So you can come in here, you can do game visuals. This is like, actually changes the color scene. So racing. Oh, that actually, weird. It made things much brighter. Scenery, RTS, vivid. Think you could do it. OLED care is important because this is an OLED screen and you're going to have persistent elements like taskbar. So you get some flicker stuff here because OLEDs are prone to flickering. Very nice. Automatically hide that Windows taskbar. That looks good. They used to have pixel shift, which I think just like slightly moved pixels. Those were like last year's models, like the VivoBooks. Maybe that's gone. It used to have pixel shift, was an OLED thing. Maybe they found it didn't work. I don't know. The ASUS stuff it's pretty bloaty, but some of it is very important here. This part here, so you can come in here and you can go different modes here. So you have standard mode, which is it'll switch between dedicated graphics and integrated graphics if needed. Eco mode will go just pure iGPU, which this is Intel Arc GPU, so it's actually very good iGPU. You can game on it if we wanted. It's actually very capable. Ultimate is going to be like everything goes to the GPU, nothing goes to the iGPU. More performance, very good. General stats and that. This is the important part here. Performance mode is kind of like balanced. Turbo mode is turbo. Everything just dumps watts into the CPU and GPU. It'll be noisy, it'll be hot, but technically it's more performance. I typically find that in most cases performance is fine. You often don't need to go beyond that, but we'll see. And silent mode is typically pretty silent. You can hear the fan kicked up just from putting it into turbo for a second. But typically silent mode is better than you'd think. We'll put it that way. I think you can still do some updates here. Yeah, it looks like there's some other updates in here, so they're separated out apparently now. A little bloaty, unfortunately, but that's fine. So this laptop is equipped with Advanced Optimus. So typically you can come in here and you can, oh my God, go away, ASUS. So typically in Armory Crate in here, which is apparently now updating, you can come in here and you can go to these DGPU modes and God, ASUS, I swear to God. You have these DGPU modes here, right? Ultimate, which is just dedicated graphics. You get a little bit more watts because it's not putting anything into the iGPU, so you should get technically a little bit more performance. Standard will flip back and forth. Eco mode is just integrated graphics. It'll dramatically improve your battery life, but you don't have to do that. Just leave it on standard now. And then typically in the NVIDIA control panel here, you can do it yourself. So you can do automatic, which it has like a muck switch and Advanced Optimus. So it'll just do it for you. You don't really have to worry about it anymore. Optimus, if you just for sure want to be in integrated graphics, you don't want Windows to accidentally wake up software, because it will. You can throw in Optimus, which is just the Intel Arc graphics, which are more than enough for day-to-day stuff. Again, you can like game on those at a reasonably respectable setting. So for day-to-day stuff, it's no problem. You can put it just NVIDIA GPU if you're gonna be plugged in 24/7 and you don't want it to care, you just want it to always be in NVIDIA, you can go like that, or just let Windows figure it out, which is basically automatically. It'll flip back and forth if need be. One thing, if you are worried about it, is if you do leave it on automatic, Windows is dumb. It's the best we have, but it's stupid. So it will, right here it says, power saving, Armory Crate's already set, cameras, power saving, virtual pet is power saving. But a lot of times, like your browsers, especially if you install a Chrome-based browser like Chrome or Brave, Windows will wake up your NVIDIA graphics to run Chrome, and then you'll just murder your battery life. So if you let Windows decide, it often decides wrong because it's Windows. So what you can do is you can come in here and you can just pick software. I don't know, I'll just find something. This one, okay. All right, go like that there, boom. And then you come in here and you say, do you want to be high performance or power saving? And I often say, make it power saving, right? I do that with my browsers. I always do that with my browsers because like Chrome-based browsers, Chromium, a lot of them will just wake up your NVIDIA graphics for no reason, and you'll be just hanging out, and all of a sudden you're looking at your battery and it's gone down to like an hour of battery left. You can go back into this NVIDIA control panel here, click this button here, and then just say, screw it, we're going Advanced Optimist, and hit that button, and it will just shut down the NVIDIA graphics. You will be on integrated graphics, right? And if you're finding that sometimes like video editing software sometimes will not use your dedicated graphics, I don't know why, you can just say, screw it, you're a dumb program. I don't want you to try to figure out what you're trying to do here, Windows. Use my dedicated graphics, and I go like that. Screen. This is an OLED screen, high refresh rate OLED screen. The big selling point, I mean, part of the selling point of this laptop is thinner, which some people really like, obviously, which makes sense because it's thinner, more portable. You do decrease performance, but it's a thinner laptop, so that's nice. 1600p screen, 16-inch screen, so relatively high resolution for what it is. That's kind of where I'd want to be at 16 inches. You really do want to be at 1600p in my opinion. And then you can see here it's a very high refresh rate, 240 hertz versus 60. You can decrease that if need be for battery life, but 240 hertz is crazy high. So very good refresh rate there. I mean, you're not typically going to use that in gaming tasks. 240 hertz on a 4060. I mean, you can on older games, but whatever, it's fine. It's still going to be really nice. And it's an OLED screen, relatively bright. Again, OLED, so it's not going to get super bright, but overall, relatively bright. It's a very nice looking screen, semi-gloss and semi-anti-gloss. Is that a thing? Typically, I find that, OLEDs usually go in one camp or the other. So you have extreme gloss, like Legion 14, like a lot of the glass touchscreens are like extreme gloss. Like you'd be able to just see my like full face. It'd be like a mirror in that reflection right there. You don't really get that on here, but it's also not a completely matte. Sometimes, like I recently finished a review of the ThinkPad P1. It has a really nice OLED screen, but it's super anti-matte, anti-gloss. So, I mean, it's still a nice OLED screen, but you do lose a little bit of the vividness because it is anti-gloss. You wouldn't be able to see me at all in that. It would be completely anti-glossy. But like I said, you do lose a little bit of the oomph on that screen because, yeah, it's just, if it's too anti-gloss, you just do lose a little bit of the vividness on the screen colors. Nice reds on that. This is a DCI-P color space monitor, so screen here, so it should look good. Nice vivid reds. Looks fantastic. Very, very nice reds. Very fantastic. Very bright. If you're doing gaming, content consumption, you're going to love this screen for that. Content creation obviously is nice. If you're in some like crushed 45% NTSC screen, you're going to be missing colors when you make graphic design type stuff. And this is a creator laptop, so you obviously want to have a nice screen. OLED blacks, as be expected, right? Very good blacks there. Right, really nice screen. Being in the DCI-P color space on like this kind of like semi anti-gloss screen is quite nice. Yeah, it's just a beautiful screen. So really, really, really nice screen here. I mean, it's an OLED screen, but that doesn't mean it's good. OLEDs don't necessarily mean that it's good. This is a good OLED screen, so. Yeah, right off the bat. See how loud it gets? All right, so yeah, I mean, they're the nicest speakers I've ever used on a Windows laptop. There. Close second would be the Yoga 9i from Lenovo with the mini LED. They're also staggeringly good speakers. Consuming media on this thing is going to be outstanding. And if you're some type of creative type, making videos, making music, you're going to love the fact that you have this beautiful screen and these killer speakers. Okay, so I suspect we're going to run into parts of the laptop now that I'm not a big fan of, since I've just spent the last, I don't know, while just absolutely praising the laptop in terms of audio and speakers and generally good keyboard and good screen and blah, 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 blah. But we're going to now look at the stuff that I'm probably going to be like, we'll see here. So we'll run some Cinebench here. I am going to put it in the highest mode, which they call turbo, and then we'll try performance mode. Here just for noise. Oh my God, the bloat here, I swear. Just for the noise here. We'll come back later with the actual benchmarks, but I am curious to just see how noisy this thing is here and just Cinebench. Of course, gaming we'll do later, but. So we're going to get throttling. The fans might kick up. So it's going to run hot, like I said. I mean, yeah, I mean, you can see the noise here. $55, $56, it's pretty loud. Not as loud as like a big behemoth gaming laptop, but still pretty loud. Now there is an incredibly annoying high-pitched whine. It's not coil whine, it's just the turbulence of the fans. It's extremely annoying. I'm not sure if the mic will pick it up, but it actually hurts my ears. Temperatures came down right away on performance mode. I think most of the time you guys are going to be using this thing on performance mode. Pretty common with ASUS laptops, the Zephyrus stuff. I've said it on many reviews in the past, comparison videos, where their turbo stuff is just too much. Like it's just too much. And they get really irritating and hot, and sometimes they throttle pretty bad. Here we are exceeding the core for like temporary boost, but we're not throttling anymore. And it's much more tolerable. And that weird irritating whining sound is gone now. Down even further. Yeah, I mean, most of the time I think you're going to want to leave it in performance mode. That turbo mode is pretty annoying, which is not new. I mean, that's an ASUS thing. Zephyrus stuff. Just generally, I've found that on their Zephyrus stuff over the years that I've been doing reviews. Silent mode's pretty quiet. Not sure with we'll come back with the performance now on silent mode, performance, and turbo. To be honest, I expect them to be relatively good, but listen to how quiet this is now. Okay, looking at some benchmarks here, we can see that in silent mode, we're doing actually decent, 12,500 or so. Not too bad, honestly, for silent mode. Balance mode or performance mode, we jump up quite a bit, up to 14,000, 15,000. It's also pretty good for that processor there. And then in full performance mode here, turbo, we're going to be getting 17,000. Overall, it's still good performance. However, if we did have better cooling and a thicker chassis, you would be able to see this 185H do a lot better. You can see here that Wi-Fi is quite good. No problems with that speed there. The included SSD is okay. You can see it has pretty good reads, Gen 4 speeds. The write speeds are a little slow, so it's kind of a mid-range Gen 4. To be honest, pretty disappointing for the cost of this laptop to have such a media-core drive, but can always replace it if need be. Battery life is a little mixed on it, but it's definitely better than Intel of before. You're going to be getting pretty okay battery on idle, 10 to 15 watt hours idle, so that's 6 to 8 hours of just generic use. Once you throw on some YouTube, it does jump up quite a bit, but you're still going to be looking at 5-6 hours of YouTube playback. Here's the webcam. A little bit of light on the left, a little bit of light on the left, a little bit less light on the right, and it's looking good. I found that the G14 had a pretty good webcam. The G16 has probably the same webcam technically. It's not kind of over lightening me, maybe a little bit, but not too bad whatsoever. It looks pretty good, and the polling rate looks good. So it's actually a really good webcam. We'll see how the mic sounds, but I would say the webcam itself is actually very good. Okay, we're going to do a little game testing now. Check the different modes here. We'll first go through and just check the noise on the different modes here, basically see what we get for acoustics and what kind of performance increase or decrease. My theory is that performance is going to be okay. God, this is low. Performance mode is going to be okay. So we're going to start with turbo though, like angry mode. Probably going to be pretty loud. And we can come through here and we can switch with the... Okay, so this is turbo. Unfortunately, the GPU is only pulling 86 watts, kind of low, but it is what it is. So 56 on turbo. And we're pulling about 86 watts there, 54 FPS. It's not great, but whatever. Performance, so 1 tier down. Big drop to the watts there, but you can see that the performance is similar. The nice thing about the 4060 is it does scale relatively well. You don't necessarily need to have the watts just absolutely cranked all the time. That's kind of nice. A little bit quieter. Still pretty loud. I mean, it is what it is. And then we'll come in here and we'll do one more. We'll go down to silent mode here. I suspect it to run okay on silent mode. Yep, it's doing okay. The 4060 again doesn't need that many watts. On silent mode, the GPU is pulling 42. And we're at about 50. So I mean, yeah, silent mode, it's a little rough on the FPS, but you could turn up more DLSS than that. But it's certainly a lot quieter. So we'll do a little bit of gameplay here now. We'll put it back into turbo mode. It's a little annoying, but you know, we're going to need the watts actually. In this case, we might have to just kind of play like this. So high 1600p with quality DLSS. We're not going to be able to get 60 here, unfortunately. 55, still very playable to be honest in a game like this. CPU is up to 92 degrees, holy smokes. Okay, and the GPU is 86, a little spicy. I mean, thin laptop, right? Creator laptop, so I'm not expecting super good thermals and acoustics here. Try balance, see if we can get our 60 here. This is balanced now, didn't really do much. Okay, yeah, we're up to 60 here. So you're probably going to be around 60 on balanced DLSS on high. A little lower here because there's a lot of stuff going in the draw distance there. Reasonably good though. Let's come in here one more and we'll go with maybe performance. See what we can get out of performance here. We may have to go with medium realistically here if you want to be at 60, but I think, you know, 60 with that balanced, you're going to be around 60 or so. Let's try medium here and try balanced. So high is a little out of the realm of this lower wattage GPU. You know, it's just an 80 watt, it's pulling only 80 watts on the 4060, which isn't terrible. But I mean, it's not also incredible or anything like that, but it's not bad. Normally on most ASUS laptops that I've tested, gaming laptops, you're actually good with performance mode, but here it's a pretty low wattage iteration of this chip here, so unfortunately you probably do need those watts, but okay, we'll do a little Baldur's Gate here now. This one's pretty hard on CPU and GPU, so we'll do this. We'll do 1600p Ultra. Let's see where we're at here. Yeah, let's go back into turbo mode. It's gonna need it. So 1600p Ultra, native. You can see the GPU is down a bit because the CPU is going to be pulling more watts here. It's okay, 55 or so, a little low, but it's not great, I mean, to be honest, but it's okay. I'll come down here, we'll throw in some DLSS. This will really save it here. Balance should get us well above 60 here. A little bit above 60, but pretty good here. Yeah, now we're static. So, you know, you're going to be using DLSS. That's still low. You're going to be using DLSS in games, realistically. This is on turbo, too. All right. So, I mean, it's a creator laptop. It's under the, you know, Zephyrus or Republic of Gamers line, but it's not a gaming laptop. It's a creative laptop. So, I mean, you can give it a bit of a pass here because, I mean, it just doesn't have the watts, right, to push this GPU really to the limit here. It's getting hot and that. So gaming on the laptop, I mean, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. It's, again, not a gaming laptop, even though it's under the Zephyrus lineup. So as long as you keep that in mind, I think you're going to have a good time with it. It's going to perform as well as any, you know, dedicated graphics, creative laptop with a relatively limited wattage. You're still going to have a good time with it. It's just not going to absolutely tear through games. Okay. Let's talk about the ASUS Zephyrus G16 2024 model with the brand new OLED screen, brand new thin chassis design. What do I think about it? Well, let's get the good stuff out of the way right off the bat. It's a very nice laptop. The chassis, the body itself is extremely nice. It is quite thin, so for, you know, a portable creator style laptop, it's going to be really, really nice to carry around with you. Despite the fact that it has a 16-inch screen, it's relatively light for all metal, very premium feeling. Speakers are incredible. Absolutely incredible. Amongst the best you're ever going to listen to on a Windows laptop. They are staggeringly good. And the screen is also very good. I mean, there's lots of other OLED screens that are going to be on par with it. There's also lots that are below it, but generally speaking, it's an incredibly nice screen. The other positive, I would say, you know, if you're a creator type, you know, these are studio type products specifically designed for creators. You're going to have a great time doing creative tasks on this laptop. Now let's talk about the negatives of the laptop. The primary ones are the performance. The GPU in here is a wattage limited GPU. The chassis itself is very thin, so it runs incredibly hot. The CPU and the GPU are incredibly hot on this laptop. Turbo mode is it's just hot. Generally speaking, it's hot. In pure gaming tasks here, the issue is you do have to throw it into turbo mode, which is really hot and incredibly annoying. The fans are incredibly annoying in turbo mode, and the performance then is not in any way impressive. It's fine. Like, you can play games on it. Don't get me wrong here. You can absolutely play games on an 80-ish watt 4060. When it comes down to it, the absolute peak performance on this laptop is going to be potentially on par with like a balanced mode on a true gaming laptop or something along those lines here. So just be aware, this is under the Republic of Gamers like umbrella from ASUS, but it's not a gaming laptop. It just happens to be under that. Maybe they're marketing like that. This is not a gaming laptop. This is a creator laptop, even evidenced by the studio graphics, specifically designed at hybrid type workflows, people who are going to be doing creative tasks with that beautiful screen, that killer audio, and then potentially playing games. I play games on all kinds of devices that are studio graphics that are not gaming devices, right? A lot of the time they have like a 3050, 6 GB or something like that. They're really not designed for gaming, but I show them in my video, and of course you can play games on them, right? You are going to be modest with what type of settings you can put in there. A lot of times you're playing on medium type settings, throwing on some DLSS to really get the frame rates that you would want, but of course you can game. But I just want you guys to be aware that the ASUS Zephyrus G16 is not a gaming laptop. The 4060 is going to underperform. The 4070 is going to underperform. The 4080 is going to massively underperform because it's the same thin chassis, limited wattages, and you're just not going to get those frame rates. I've been recently testing 4080s and 4090s at high wattage, medium, and low, and let me tell you, they drop down a lot. When you go from those high wattages down to those low wattages, you do get a huge performance drop on those GPUs. Not as much actually on the 4060 or 4070. So I would actually say for a lot of people who are doing gaming, I guess, probably actually just go for the 4060 or 4070 because it's going to be relatively decent. Whether I would recommend this laptop is tough because if you've seen my channel and you follow me, I ripped on ASUS when this laptop was first announced because the pricing is out of this world. In Canada, it's crazy, but even in the US, it's too expensive. Nowadays, the prices are coming down. I was able to get this for 2,000 Canadian. It is open box, but it's through Best Buy and is a Geek Squad certified, like immaculate mint product. So at that point, I mean, now you're getting into a $2,000 product like this. It's still pricey, but you're getting a beautiful OLED screen, killer speakers, CNC chassis, good performance overall on that CPU and relatively decent performance on that GPU, and just generally just a nice laptop, right? And so for somebody like me who, primarily does creative tasks but wants to be able to game as like a secondary, but still like I do want to game. Like I want to be able to play games, but it's not the most primary thing. This would be a killer laptop for me, right? People who want to go for true hybrid style workflows, you're going to be fine with this. Or if you're a creative style type person, this is going to be a killer type laptop. But again, if you're looking for a pure gaming laptop, you can get much more performance for much less money going with a different laptop than this here. So I wouldn't pick this up as a gaming laptop if that's your only goal. If you just want a gaming laptop, look elsewhere. Realistically, even at the sale price here, $2,000 Canadian, which is about $1,500 American, it's not worth it in terms of the performance for what you're getting out of this laptop. You can get you can get thin laptops as well that are going to give you significantly better performance for less money. Not the same money, less money. But if you're not looking for a pure gaming laptop, you're looking for a hybrid style product, it is still pretty compelling.